Good evening. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a moment. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the stream is currently on the air. Okay, before I start tonight's live stream, I wanted to give everybody an update on two SJS Direct 2025 books. Now, the first book that's now available in paperback and digital format is Esteem Season of the Witch Girl, and Esteem Season of the Witch Girl right now is available in paperback right now for you to purchase with a great cover from Bill Walko and Romel Yamul on colors that pays homage to the legendary, iconic, Amazing Spider-Man 39 cover that was done by the late John Romita. And this book is a follow-up to Esteem the Witches of Eastland and follows the aspiring angel as she takes on a wicked teenage witch in this follow-up to the Witches of Eastland. And in this action-packed Esteem series story, she finds out that the witch girl has a lot more powers than she had in the previous story. So you can pick up Esteem Season of the Witch Girl right now in paperback right now, or you can pick it up on Kindle right now and other online booksellers like Draft to Digital and Google Play. And this is a very fun story that you can read with your family and your kids can enjoy. Very PG-13, and again, very family-friendly, fun action and adventure from the SJS Direct universe. Now, the second book I recently got from the printer is Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, and Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer is the fourth story in the entire Spinsterella saga, and this book features a cover by legendary UK comic artist Des Taylor, who's known as Des Pop, and he did a fantastic job making Matilda pop on this cover, which depicts her West Coast debut. Now, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, as you can see, is a huge book. This book is over 640 pages, so this is a book that's going to be a great beach read. So if you're going on vacation, you'll have a lot to read during the times you're in the airport or you're on the beach or wherever you are during your vacation. And the other fun part about this book is that this book is my take on the whole concept of a light novel. And since it's my take on the whole concept of a light novel, now anybody who's read light novels in Asian countries, you know that a light novel is a book that is not just a YA, is not just a story for teens and tweens. It also is a story that features a lot of pictures inside the book. And again, all the pictures in the book are about different scenes in the story. I just got to find one of those scenes in the story. And it features images in the story similar to like what's right here. Now, this is one of the images in Goth Girl Summer. It's a picture of Mad Matilda at the goth club that she's in later on in the story. And there are a lot of different pictures in the book. Again, this is a book that I commissioned to be again, a light novel, like the ones they sell in Japan and Korea. And like those ones that you see in Japan and Korea, they feature pictures throughout the book depicting scenes in the story. And the whole goal of this is, again, to be sort of like a scrapbook of Matilda's um, vacation in the year 2000, and also to give you a chronicle of what went on in the year 2000 in the goth scene. So that's what Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer is going to be all about. Matilda's working vacation as a goth model in Los Angeles. And that's one of the reasons why this book is over 600 pages, because we're going to Los Angeles with Matilda as she visits her brother, Brody. And this book builds up on stories that were previously in the Spinsterella series, such as Spellbound and the legendary Mad Matilda, and in some ways can be seen as a conclusion to all of those previous stories that leads into Spinsterella. So this is a book, if you're a Spinsterella fan, or you're a fan of what some people call the Matilda stories, this is one you definitely don't want to miss. And it's coming out May 23rd. And on May 23rd, you'll be able to be a part of the Goth Girl Summer with Spinsterella and pick up your copy in paperback, which you can do right now, because I already have this up in paperback because I've already finished doing all the editing on this book and the page layouts. But if you want a digital version, you have to wait till May 23rd. But if you want the paperback right now, you can get the paperback on Amazon.com right now and other online booksellers. And with that being said, I'm going to get into tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is a topic I wanted to talk about a month ago, but sadly I had an anxiety attack before I could go on the air to even talk about that topic. And it was asking black people, why do we continue to support men like Dr. Umar Johnson? Now, recently, Dr. Umar Johnson was caught up in a scandal that's related to his daughter, who was basically out here saying that he had not gone out here and supported her. And I wanted to go in depth, not on him and his daughter's drama. No, I wanted to talk about the black community and why do we continue to support alleged con men like Dr. Umar Johnson. And I have to ask that critical question because when I look at Dr. Umar Johnson's track record, he really hasn't gone out here and produced any sort of tangible results for black people. Now, Dr. Umar Johnson goes out here and says he's the prince of Pan-Africanism, but I kind of see him as the clown prince of Pan-Africanism because he talks a good game, but he doesn't really go out here and produce any sort of tangible results. That's the question I really have to ask regarding the black community, because when I made that video, people got so upset. They were defending this guy, and I have to wonder, why do we continue to support individuals like this who don't go out here and produce any sort of tangible results for foundational black Americans? I mean, I'm looking at this guy who over a decade ago said he's going to go out here and build a school for young black boys to learn how to be men. But when we look at his behavior, he's not modeling that example of manhood that he says we need desperately in the black community. No, this guy, when we look at his results, is a guy who has two kids by two different baby mamas. But the whole thing is, he's sitting up here talking about trying to create a positive image of black manhood and a positive image of black masculinity. And how can you talk about creating a positive image of black manhood and a positive image of black masculinity if you yourself are not representing those principles yourself? That's a critical question I posed regarding Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, how do you go out here and present yourself as these ideals when you're not living those values? I mean, one of the things that I want to do, as a publisher, I want to create positive stories about the black experience, and I try to present a positive example in and of myself as related to my behavior, so that what I'm writing and what I'm publishing is a reflection of who I am. That's what I try to do as related to what I present. And I look at black people and I say, why do we continue to support someone who isn't really presenting that example regarding himself? And some of these black folks will say, oh, people ain't perfect. But if you're going to go out here and say that you're going to represent this as your mission, then you should be, again, presenting that example to young black boys and young black men as related to yourself. That's something you need to be able to do, because if you're going to be able to go out here and, again, look to create a model for your results, you need to have that as an example for yourself on a small scale. This is something I learned from watching the show Shark Tank, where, again, if you want to scale something up, then you have to have that success in the past. This is something I also learned working in nonprofit for AmeriCorps Vista at the Strive program. Now, the Strive program was a job readiness workshop that talked about dealing with the issues of people who were homeless, people who were ex-offenders, people who were coming out of the foster system, people coming out of different dysfunctional situations, which were made them where they weren't able to maintain and retain employment. And we had to, again, in 3 weeks, get these people ready for the job market and get them job ready to pass interviews. And again, a lot of the people who were working in the program, they were themselves people who were coming out of recovery of addiction. They were people who had records and were ex-offenders. They were people who came out of the homeless system. And they could go out here as an example to show tangible results of their behavior to the participants of the program, to show how you needed to get yourself job ready. I mean, that's what I had to deal with when I was working at the Strive program over 25 years ago. But we don't really, again, have that standard for things in the black community. And I have to wonder why we don't have that standard as related to guys like Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, this is one of the things that is undermining us economically, because how do you get empowerment from people who can't go out here and produce tangible results? I mean, when you're running an economy in your community, you have to have people who can go out here and produce tangible results and go out here and make those results that are some that you can go out here and show as an effort of not only being committed to your cause, but having a process to be able to complete whatever task you hope to accomplish. That's something that one of these commenters wanted to mock me about when I talked about tangible results. But if you're running a community and you have control over your economy, you have to have tangible results. You have to have results, because that's all part of leadership. All part of leadership in a community is people being able to not only be able to, again, state their mission for whatever business they're doing, but also have a process as related to that whole mission. Again, the steps that you take to be able to achieve and accomplish what you're going to do. Because if you have that process set up, then what you do is you can, again, detail that process and then be able to scale up or replicate that process so that you can go out here and produce a series of consistent results. Unfortunately, many in the black community, we don't really look at things from that whole critical perspective. No, what happens to a lot of us is we just get caught up in our feelings. And as we get caught up in our feelings about whatever this person says they're going to do, we never really take them to task to see how they're going to have a whole mission and a whole plan for what they're going to do, the steps for the process, the benchmarks for that process to show us how we're going to get to a certain result. No, we don't have any of those things in place. And this is one of the things that keeps us from being able to go out here and build and maintain an economy where we can hold those who are supposed to be the ones are supposed to be controlling our economy and be the stewards of our economy accountable for their actions. Now, this is something I wanted to go in depth in that live stream that, again, where I had the anxiety attack. I couldn't really talk about it. And one of the points I wanted to reference was one, but now basically two plays. One was one by Lorraine Hansberry, known as A Raisin in the Sun, and another is one by a brother called Freeman. And in both of those cases, we run into two males who basically are like Dr. Umar Johnson, filled with a lot of big talk and make a lot of talk based on ideals. But when we look at their process, we really don't see how they're going to get to the desired results that they're hoping to accomplish. Now, if anybody has watched the play adaptations of A Raisin in the Sun, and I've seen all of the adaptations, the one with Lou Gossett and Sidney Poitier, the one with Esther Roll and Danny Glover, and the one with Sean P. Diddy Combs and Felicia Rashad. And the sad, tragic story of A Raisin in the Sun is it's a story of a man, a Walter Younger, who has big dreams, but sadly, Walter Lee Younger really doesn't understand process, and because he does not understand process, he basically gets caught up in his emotions about this dream of owning a liquor store in his community, and he wants to own this liquor store, but the whole thing is he wants to take the money from the death of his father, take the money from the death of his father to open up this liquor store. But the whole thing is because he's so caught up in his emotions, he doesn't understand that the guy, Willie, he's talking to is a con man who basically is playing on his emotions, because had he known anything about business, he would understand that, again, you just having money isn't enough for a business. No, you have to understand how business works. And again, this is all about process. And all he's thinking about is getting the $5,000 from the $10,000 insurance that the mother got from the death of his father, and not really thinking about, running a store in any shape or form is all about you understanding process, understanding things like understanding how to go about getting things like your certificate authority so that you can collect tax revenue for the state, getting your liquor license intact, getting your location and venue in place, and having a business plan, because there's more to opening up a store than your feelings. No, there's more to opening up a store than your feelings. There's a whole lot of logistics that go into a business. That's something I understood back even before 2009 when I started the SJS Direct imprint. I understood that there's a lot more that goes on as related to a business. And sadly, with a lot of Black people, we never really start understanding that process to ask those critical questions. And that's because a lot of us basically we're so caught up in our feelings about dreams about things that we're not really thinking about the bigger picture as related to economics. And sadly, because we don't think about that bigger picture, like Walter Younger, we just throw money at people like Dr. Umar Johnson because they tell us what we want to hear. They tell us what makes us feel good. They tell us about the big dreams that they have and the high apple pie in the sky ideas that they present regarding whatever they're talking about. They talk a big game. And again, as they're talking that big game, what they do is go out here and talk that big game. And as they're talking that big game, what we're doing is we get caught up in our feelings about how we're going to spend money to see those dreams come true, but we're never really asking those critical questions to them. Okay, what's your process to be able to accomplish this? What benchmarks are you setting to get this done? What timeline do you have to get these things done? These are the things that a seasoned professional will go out here and can easily answer you to. I mean, whenever I go out here and I write a book like A Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Now, I started this book all the way back, and I think about March or April of 2024, and I was writing the outline for this in 2023, and I had the outline and everything planned out for this book. I mean, everything was basically planned out. I met the benchmarks to make the first draft of the script by about August of 2024. I was contacting the artist around September of 2024. Sadly, things didn't work out with that artist, so I had to go find other artists. But thank God I was able to meet the benchmark to get this book out in 2025. And again, that's what somebody does who is all about their business. They have, again, benchmarks for their goals. They have benchmarks for everything that they have. They can tell you about the process, and they can be very transparent about every step of that process. But with Black people, we never ever demand anything as related to, again, this type of standard for our business. No, what we do is we want to, again, get caught up in our feelings. Oh, we're going to have our own school. Well, how do you plan on getting that private school? What plans do you have as related to your curriculum? First question anybody should be asking, okay, what is going to be your curriculum, and what standards are you planning to meet as related to getting accreditation? That's another question a lot of people would be asking. I mean, if you're going to open up a school, there should be, again, an outline for your curriculum as part of your mission. What is your plan for going out here and having a plan for your overall benchmarks as related to things? And that's even before we get to the whole thing as related to location. We got to get the accreditation done first. And after we get the accreditation and the curriculum in place, this is where we can start laying out the outline for, okay, what type of school are we going to have? And then we can start talking about location. And as we talk about location, we can start to talk about, again, things like class size, things like the classes that are going to be taught, what grades are going to be taught. And we're also going to be talking about how we're going to, again, deal with discipline. These are things that a person, again, who's serious about running a school would be talking about. But many in the Black community, we don't want to ever talk about these type of things. No, these details basically are things we aren't getting involved with, because a lot of us, again, we are all in our feelings. And again, you can't run a community on feelings. No, if you're going to be able to have an economy isn't about feelings. No, we have to have we have to have a goal. Two, we have to have a course to set as related to establishing standards to meet that goal. And then we have to, again, start working towards meeting the benchmarks in order to achieve that goal. That's all a part of the process that's done. And again, when it comes to Black people, we don't focus on process. And that's where we get undermined, because we guys like Dr. Umar Johnson, again, yeah, big talkers as related to things, but we don't really get to see any sort of tangible results. And that's where I just, again, have to shake my head, because Black folks, a lot of us, we don't want to sit there and think about the whole process to getting results, similar to Walter Younger in A Raisin in the Sun. And what's sad is that nothing really has changed ever since Lorraine Hansberry wrote that play in the 1950s or 1960s regarding our perception of economics. And that was further exacerbated to me and shown to me in a 1970s play known as Freeman. Now, in the play Freeman, this character, Freeman, is the son of two greatest generation Black parents. Again, he had a mother and a father in his life, but he couldn't get his life together. Even though he had a wife and a child on the way, he was still living in a world of big dreams, and delusions as related to, again, looking to become this big person, and again, quits his job to go out here and run for political office, as he has another grand plan to go out here and take an old warehouse and turn it into a place to make car slip covers, because he was working at a place at a foundry. And again, this was backbreaking work, but he, again, didn't know how to, again, go about process, and goes out here and gets involved with some shady white people, as related to his whole process of looking to run for this political office, and in hopes of, again, creating the slipcover company. Now, a guy whose mother died and he became a doctor, he basically is trying to let Freeman know how things work in the real world. But Freeman doesn't want to hear anything, because he's got these grand delusions. He's got these grand delusions about being this big Black person, this big prominent Black person. Again, he reminded me so much of Dr. Umar Johnson, and his wife thought he was going crazy as related to his behavior. Now, this guy has a child on the way, and he's buying into conspiracy theories because he loses the election after they basically let people know that he's basically against the community because he's all about his dreams and not about anything as related to process. And Freeman, at the end of the play, basically winds up in a place where he's basically given a job as a maintenance supervisor, and again, is still caught up in his delusions, and again, doesn't see how he's his own worst enemy. And that's what happens to a lot of people like Dr. Umar Johnson, the clown prince of Pan-Africanism. I mean, he's basically, again, his own worst enemy who undermines himself. And that's what I have to wonder, again, is he the problem or are we the problem? Thank you to Vanya for supporting Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. I hope you enjoy Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. I wrote this to be a fun story. Again, this is a fun, light novel, and I think you'll definitely enjoy it. There's a lot of there's drama, there's comedy, but it's a great story, and I know that everybody will definitely enjoy it. I know it's a lot of book to read, but it's a fun book to read, and I hope you enjoy it when you get it from Amazon. Now, I'll get back to, again, Dr. Umar Johnson. Again, I asked that question because I'm wondering, why do we continue to support these kinds of folks who produce no results? And one of the things that I have to ponder, is it because we have low self-esteem and we're just so desperate, like, again, Walter Lee in A Raisin in the Sun, because Walter Lee in A Raisin in the Sun was so desperate to get any sort of result that he basically went out here and got involved with Willie the con man, and again was willing to give his money to Willie because he was so desperate to have something that he couldn't see that what he was going to get was not worth anything at all. I mean, when I think about Walter Younger from A Raisin in the Sun, I sit there and know that, again, I know how hard it is for black men. I know how hard it is for a black man to get a job. I know how hard it is for a black man to get anything because people will get in your way. But sometimes we can get in our own way. Sometimes we can get in our own way because we're so emotional, and our emotions make it where we get caught up in our greed. And as we get caught up in our greed, what happens to us is that we start undermining ourselves. We start undermining ourselves because we're so eager to get what we want. We're not thinking about the whole process of how we're going to get it. And we're not thinking about how this process really has some red flags as related to it. I mean, we really don't think about that at all. Flock to you, Dr. Umar never started that school. I mean, he got over $1 million. And again, what I find to be very scary is that none of these black people, especially a lot of these black women, ever asked him what happened to any of that money. I mean, if a man like myself, who is a publisher, again, were to ask for money, people would be asking me for progress reports, asking me for results, but they'd never ask Dr. Umar. And a lot of it is because, again, with black women, they're very emotional. And again, they want to believe in this man. But the whole thing is, in business is logical. And it's logical to ask someone, okay, I gave you this money. And if I give you this money, I'm expecting to see some progress. I'm expecting to see some results. I mean, this is just basic logic as related to business. I mean, I remember back in 2017, a sister gave me a donation for a cover for one of my books. And I immediately came out here and I went out here and I quickly made sure that I was going to go out here and, again, provide those tangible results and provide those tangible results because I knew that I had to respect that sister as related to the money that she gave me. And again, that's where I went out here and, again, put up that cover, again, immediately as related to things. And that's where I, again, was able to get the cover for Samurai Goddess in 2017. This cover you see right now, this cover was one that was provided by a sister who, again, donated money to me. And I made sure that I was transparent in all of the process. I always made sure that I was transparent in the process because I wanted people to know that if you donate money to me, you're going to see a tangible result. Again, a tangible result because that's what I do here at SJS Direct. Again, it's all about respecting people. Again, you want to respect people who go out here and, again, give you money. I mean, if they're giving you money and, again, you get this money, you have to, one, not only, again, take the money from the people, but also give them exactly what they ask for. I mean, if they're telling you, okay, I gave you this money for a certain thing, you have to go out here and provide that for people. That's what you have to do when you're with things. This is what I learned from working nonprofit. What I learned from working in nonprofit, again, is you're supposed to take whatever funds. If somebody gives it something to you specifically for something, then you have to go out here and give them, again, something specific in terms of things. You have to provide people with things specifically that you're supposed to give them. Again, that's all part of business. And the same thing happened with another one of my projects, John Haynes at Death's Door. I got a viewer, a sister gave me money for this comic and gave me money for the comic. And again, I went out here and quickly started to get this comic out there. Again, did this because I understand, again, when you're with the public, again, you have to have one, transparency, two, you have to have open communication, three, you have to provide results for people. And again, that's all part of the process because you want people to know that, okay, you can be trusted as related to things. That's what you want people to know. And sadly, in the Black community, we don't have that type of relationship because a lot of us, again, came out of the whole system of white supremacy. And again, we don't know how to build relationships with each other that are interdependent. No, we wind up getting caught up in codependency because we basically see the white supremacists as having all the power. And we're looking for a quick fix. We're looking for a quick fix and a quick results. But that's not how the world works as related to business. And that's something that, again, is a problem for a lot of Black people. And this is why they look to support alleged con men like Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, Dr. Umar Johnson comes out here and allegedly says, okay, I'm going to open a school. I'm going to go out here and do this. And again, nobody looks to measure him by any sort of standard. I mean, in the business world, if you come out here and you say you're going to do something, you have to meet things by a standard as related to, again, your mission, a standard as related to the process you're going to follow. And you're going to have to go out here and provide results within a certain period of time. But in the Black community, sadly, a lot of us never demand any sort of standard from guys like Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, millions of dollars being donated and no record of it. And it's just very similar to what happened with Black Lives Matter. I mean, Black Lives Matter was an organization. Again, these people got hundreds of millions of dollars and Black people donated to them after the death of George Floyd, and not a single dollar was held accountable. I mean, these women basically, again, went out here and took advantage of the community as related to that whole cause, donating hundreds of millions of dollars. And we basically have legitimate records showing, okay, these women bought all of these expensive mansions. They went out here and hired all sorts of people, but nothing was done specifically for the group that was suffering as a result of things, which were foundational Black American men. Nothing was done to help foundational Black American men at all. And that's the sad part about the Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter basically, again, showed how little regard they have for Black people. And part of it is due to a lot of Black people. Again, we go out here and donate on emotion, but we don't ever scrutinize these individuals. And I have to wonder if that's due to a covert contract many foundational Black American people, especially foundational Black American women, have. They have this covert contract where they go out here and passively donate money, but aggressively do nothing about it and hope that nothing is done because they don't want accountability as related to what they're doing. That's what I'm wondering is in these situations that lead to Black people looking to, again, support people like Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, you go out here and you can donate, again, millions of dollars to people who produce absolutely no result and are indignant about it. That's what really, again, makes me shake my head. You can go out here and donate money to someone who basically, again, is not giving you any sort of tangible results at the end of the day. So someone who isn't even giving you anything of value whatsoever or providing you anything that they promise to offer, and they can go out here and breach this type of contract, and everything's perfectly fine. And in some cases, like I saw in the comment section, there were women sitting up there defending Umar, the right to donate money to Umar Johnson, defending the right to give this man money, and saying that it was all right, that he didn't do anything with that money. But that's not how it works in the real world. I mean, in the real world, and I've worked in nonprofit, where every dollar has to be accounted, every dollar that is given to you has to be accounted down to the last penny again, and it has to be accounted because again, you were a steward of this money, and you cannot go out here and misappropriate any of that money. If you misappropriate any of that money, it's called embezzlement, and you can get charged with a serious state or federal crime. That's what many people, again, black folks, don't understand, because again, when you don't understand, when you're again provided these funds, you're provided these funds again for a reason. And again, this is a contract that you have. Again, I understand this because again, whenever I get video requests, this is why I do them immediately, because again, in some cases, if I don't have the time to do if I sometimes need the time to do the research, but I try to do them as fast as possible, because the whole thing is that you have a contract with this individual if you agree to take that request. And again, there is accountability as related to these businesses. And again, black people, we don't understand what business is, because a lot of us still are following in the same dysfunctional model of the codependent black church, with the black pastor, another individual who has no accountability in our community. I mean, the black pastor, basically, again, another person who black women give millions of dollars to, but we never account for any of that money. He goes out here, says he's taking tithes and offerings for God, but does not go out here and use that money the way God established in his word. And when God established in his word, he established that that money was supposed to be used to take care of the widows, take care of the children, take care of the community and those who were the poorest. Again, that so-called 10% off the top of everybody's salary that these pastors want to go out here and get is supposed to be used for the people. But what these black pastors do is take your money and then take it outside of your community, take it outside of your community to go out here and be able to live a lavish lifestyle at the expense of his congregation, exploiting his congregation. And again, you have black women sitting there defending the black pastor in his, as what I call, hustle, the same way they defend Dr. Umar Johnson. And I have to wonder what's wrong with many of these sisters. What's wrong with many of these sisters? They'll sit there and support a con man like a Dr. Umar Johnson. They'll support organizations like Black Lives Matter. They'll support people like the black pastor and never ask once for any of those people to be accountable for the money that they give them. But a black man like myself, if they go out here and we go out here and make a request of them, or they come to us, they want immediate results. Again, looking to make demands of a black man like myself, and again, want to make quick demands, make those quick demands of us, and again, showing me a real double standard. Again, when you're talking about going out and participating in doing something that's going to help the community, again, you want to help the community, but the community in and of itself really has a real serious issue, because we are not really holding the people who are a part of our economy accountable for that economy. That's a real serious problem for me. I mean, we don't hold the people who are supposed to be the stewards over our economy, again, accountable for anything. And that's a real serious issue as I see it. Now, Zken leaves a point that's very interesting. He says, those women want to be his wife. They're desperate to get a house call from the good doctor. And then I would have to look at that and shake my head, because this man has no interest in marrying anyone. And if these women have a covert contract like that, they're not going to get that contract implemented for them at all. No, not going to get that implemented at all because, again, we see Dr. Umar's past results. He got 2 kids by 2 different baby mamas, and he's not looking to be accountable to anyone because if he's not looking to be accountable for the enterprise he basically set up as related to a nonprofit in a school, then he's not really interested in, again, looking to be accountable as a head. I mean, we see that because he's a 2-time baby daddy whose own daughters basically are saying he never really took care of anything. I mean, that's what's being said here. So these women are extremely delusional if they're thinking this dude is going to go out here and look to, again, be interested in being a husband to them. What's really happening with them is that they're getting caught up in his so-called doctorate. But I'm seeing, again, another case of educated not being smart. I'm not seeing a case of educated being smart at all. No, I'm seeing a case of an educated guy similar to what I saw with Freeman. Now, the Freeman character, again, his father basically went out here and looked to try to give him, again, a better life than he had. But again, Freeman took everything for granted and basically came to nothing because he didn't appreciate what his father had done for him, the sacrifices that were made. And in the Freeman play, he's all in his emotions. He's in his own world. He's not living in reality. And that's where Dr. Umar Johnson is. He reminds me so much of Freeman. And this is a play you can go on PBS right now. I mean, it was on PBS for years, and it's on YouTube right now. I can go pull it up again. The Freeman play. I watched it on Sunday. On Sunday night, I watched the Freeman play, and again, this was a play by a brilliant writer. And again, this guy, this Freeman play was again, and it's on the Black Film History channel. I'm gonna leave a link to that in the chat. I mean, the Freeman play is one that'll show you these type of guys and their delusions. And it's something that I watched back when I was a teenager, back in the early 90s, and it still resonates with me right now, the same way A Raisin in the Sun resonates with me right now. And that's why I got to ask, why do we continue to support these guys? I mean, supporting these guys is no different than supporting Pookie. I mean, black women, they'll go out here and they'll support Pookie as related to him having a so-called rap career, cutting a record, or whatever enterprise he's talking about, and they'll pour money into this dude, but they won't ever demand any sort of return on their investment. And a lot of that has to do with sisters and their low self-esteem. They basically want to see this man have success, but this man is not going out here and making any efforts as related to himself. No, not making a single effort as related to anything, because when a man is about his business, like I am, you're still working on stuff, even if you don't have a job, and you want to work on stuff because that's what men do. We're natural builders. We're natural people who work and go out here and build. And we may wind up running short on money at a period of time, but we still are looking to get things done. I mean, I remember back when I lost my position at AmeriCorps Vista, and I also lost a law firm job. I was still out here trying to get books published through a trade publishing. I was submitting queries and doing everything that I could as I was looking for work. Again, when a man is working, he's out here looking to work. He's making steps towards getting progress and trying to get to the results. And again, for him, it's about, again, that effort and that initiative. He may run into resistance like I did. I got lots of rejections for my books, and I got turned down by many literary agents. I mean, books like the Cassandra Cookbook got 400 rejections. Temptation of John Haynes got over 500 rejections, but I still went out here. And even when I got a job at City College, I was still putting in that work. That's what men go out here and do. And again, a lot of times we will go out here and take whatever little we've got. We're not looking to, again, live off no woman, because living off a woman is weak. And taking money from women, again, that's not something we like to do. But if we do it, we want to have results. Again, it's all about making sure things are consistent, things are transparent. letting you know every step of the process. Because if you invest in me, I have a obligation to show you what I'm working on. Same thing if I were working on a job and collecting a paycheck. If I'm collecting a paycheck and I'm working for a boss, I'm obligated to again go out here and provide them with progress of my work, show them the results of my work. But in the Black community, a lot of us are afraid to again demand that standard. We're afraid to go out here and demand that standard. And that's what leads to us being open to being taken advantage of by what I believe to be con men like Dr. Umar Johnson, organizations like Black Lives Matter, and people like the Black Pastor. All of these people take advantage of us because a lot of us don't want to go out here and again demand that a process be followed. And there is a process that has to be followed as related to business. There is a process that has to be followed. Again, you should be able to show people exactly what you're talking about. Like I do with the SJS Direct, my mission was to create positive stories about the Black experience and show you a richer picture of diverse life. And I can show that with books like Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Here's the story of a Black goth. Again, 600 pages, cover by Des Taylor, a prominent comic artist known for his own pop art. Again, transparency as related to things, and transparency as related to things, and related to the process can show you, again, tangible results, show you a tangible result as related to process, and show you, again, all the diversity as related to Black fantasy that I write on the SJS Direct imprint. This is what I show as related to things. But in the Black community, we don't go out here and demand that whole process be shown to us. No, we just listen to people tell us what we want to hear, tell us things that make us feel good, and tell us, oh, one day it will be done. But that's not how it works in life. No, it doesn't work in life like that at all. No, in real life, if you say you're going to do something, again, you're creating a contract with those individuals, and a contract is supposed to be done and completed within a certain period of time. When you go out here and, again, give money to someone, they're supposed to provide you with results in a certain reasonable period of time. Within a reasonable period of time, people are supposed to go out here and be able to provide you with results, provide you with actual results of what they're producing. And that's the way it's done in most everyday businesses and most everyday nonprofits. Everybody has to produce something, or they'll risk wind up, again, alienating people and wind up losing their professional reputation. Your professional reputation is important in any other place but the Black community. No, in the Black community, we don't regard people who have a process. We don't respect people who have a process. We don't respect people who are transparent. We don't respect people who are serious about business. No, what we do is we go out here and we ridicule and mock those individuals like myself. Or what you do is go out here and you look to ignore those individuals. Look to ignore those individuals because they can go out here and look to, again, have a mission, have a set of process and benchmarks that they have to get results. No, you don't want those results because a lot of cases, some Black folks don't want responsibility. No, they want the covert contract with the con man, because the con man, basically, they can go out here and say, oh, that's just the way Black people are. This is why we can't have nothing. No, they don't want anything. No, what they want to do is stay in codependency, hoping somebody will come by and clean up a mess, similar to the way Black women have relationships. I mean, if you look at the way they have relationships with Pookie, it's the same way they do business with guys like Umar Johnson. It's the same way they deal with Pookie. Again, Pookie is never held accountable or have to measure for any sort of tangible results. No, he basically can go out here, blow money, never produce anything, and it's fine because the Black woman, she basically wants to stay in power. She doesn't want anything to change her smooth world. No, in her eyes, if this guy fails, everything is okay. because she basically didn't expect anything of that man, didn't expect anything of that man, passively gave him an opportunity to do something, but was aggressively hoping he'd fail, because what she wanted to do is continue to maintain the de facto position of power given to her by white supremacy, wanted to go out here and maintain that codependent position at the bottom of the world where she can be at the top. That's what she wants. And again, this is why her and some of the black males out here look to support a guy like Dr. Umar Johnson, because what they fear more than anything is success. They fear success because with success comes accountability. Moreover, what comes with accountability is an expectation that you're going to be able to replicate those results. And that pressure is something that overwhelms many of black folks out here, is that accountability to be able to, again, continue replicating results, because a lot of black folks, again, they don't want to be able to be on their own. They don't want to be interdependent. No, they want to be codependent on the system of white supremacy, put up enough effort into something to watch it fail, and then go back to the white supremacists looking for their next crumb of daily bread. That's what happens with many black folks, and that's why they love to support con men. They love to support con men because they know in the back of their minds, these high apple pie in the sky dreams, they can say they went out here and put in some work and did something, but it didn't work out. And since it didn't work out, then we're not really accountable for anything. That's what they really wanted to do as related to things. Again, didn't want to go out here and, again, take any responsibility, take ownership of their lives. That's why they fear people who own black-owned businesses. That's why they fear black people looking to control the economy. No, they want to go out here and deal with the con man because they can make it look like they said they did something, look like you said you did something, look like you said you accomplished something, but in actuality, you did nothing at all. You can sit there and say, oh, we gave this guy $1 million, but the whole thing is he has no results as related to things. And if you've got no results, again, that's not a success at all. And again, I look at Dr. Umar Johnson, Black Lives Matter, and the black pastor, and I look at the poverty the black community is in, and it basically proves a point that Jesus stated, ye shall know them by their fruits. And sadly, these people, again, bear no fruit. But what's really sadder than them bearing no fruit is we have people continuing to buy their seeds that, as related to things, and putting money into the ground and only getting thorns and briars as a result, and are perfectly content with the thorns and briars that they produce instead of looking to get a vineyard or an orchard for our community. No, with a lot of black folks, they look to, again, continue to be okay with those thorns and briars, and then look to the white folks and, again, the non-blacks to basically provide their daily bread. And again, it's really sad because, like Walter Younger and Freeman, again, you basically take your best and, again, throw it away. God gives you all the seeds to have an abundant life, gives you all the seeds to prosper. And instead of taking those seeds and looking to go out here and grow that vineyard, looking to go out here and grow that place that can feed you and help you prosper, you continue to support people who give you nothing but seeds that lead to thorns and briars, give you seeds for thorns and briars, and then when you don't get those results, then sit there and say, oh, this is why we can't trust black men. No, it's not that you can't trust black men, because, again, I showed you before in this live stream, again, what happens when a black man is given donations from black women, and he can produce his tangible results, what can happen. That's what can happen when you have a man who knows the process and knows the whole steps of the process and looks to want to build a trusting relationship with black people. Again, you get tangible results. But when you get, again, guys like Dr. Umar Johnson or groups like Black Lives Matter or other organizations, you get people who will say, oh, 10 years later, we still ain't got nothing. That's sad in the case of both BLM and Dr. Umar Johnson. Here we are a decade later and no progress. here we are a decade later and hundreds of millions of dollars and no improvement in the quality of life of brothers and sisters, no different than the black pastor. And that's where I gotta look at the black community and the people who control the black community with a side eye. I gotta look at the black women who control the economy with a side eye. I gotta look at the black males who, again, go along with these black women with a side eye. Why do you continue supporting people like Dr. Umar Johnson, like Black Lives Matter, and other people like the black pastor who produce no results? Why do you continue to, again, pour money into these people and you get nothing at all? I mean, how long are you going to take good money and throw it after bad, after people, again, show you they do not produce anything consistently? I mean, if you're a business person, you don't go out here and keep pouring money into people who produce no results. That's just absolutely foolish. And the sad part is that the black community has done this for over, I'd say, 100 years. And that's the definition of insanity, doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. You got black women pouring money into a black pastor. Your neighborhood is still a ghetto. He's supposed to be taking care of you with that money, but he's taking your money and living out in the suburbs, taking your money, sending his kids to private schools to be among white people. And your kids are in bad public schools. You're riding a bus to go to his church, and you're riding a bus to go through a ghetto neighborhood. But you're sitting there thinking, again, I'm supporting this man, and he's supposed to be out here being a man of God. But Jesus told you, you shall know them by their fruits. And these people are not producing or bearing any fruit whatsoever, not bearing any fruit whatsoever. And you're sitting there in a community that should be where you're living an abundant life. You should be getting the fruits of his labor. Again, getting the fruits in community programs for your neighborhood in the black, as related to the black church. You should be having businesses from the church in your neighborhood employing your people. You should be, again, having schools, again, run with your tithe dollars. All that should be coming back to you. Again, that's the sad part about black people. Again, we go out here, we support the worst people, and then expect the best. Meanwhile, our best and brightest people want to bring you the best, but you don't want the best. No, you scrutinize that black person like I have had to deal with. Again, black folks will not want things from a black man who wants to provide you with results. No, don't want no tangible results from a black man. No, they want it from a white man. That's all part of the spellbound mindset I talk about in my novel, Spellbound. Again, looking to fit that yourself in that black box is acceptable to white people and take the white person's crumbs as better than your own labors. And that's the sad part, again, about black folks. Again, we will go out here and spend our money looking to support, again, a Dr. Umar Johnson. We'll pour millions of dollars into this guy. And again, he produces no results over a decade. Meanwhile, I have been working on the SJS Direct imprint since about 2009 with my own money. And then later on, I got money donated to me for things like covers and even a John Haynes comic book. Again, showing you tangible results. Can't get no support from the black community. Had to, again, go out here and, again, push to get John Haynes at Death Store funded. Had to go all over Facebook, letting people know that that project was going on in order to get the whole project funded. Again, had to go from Facebook page to Facebook page just to get that project funded. And again, when it comes down to black people who, again, want to help the community, we can't get no support. But black folks will support someone like a Dr. Umar Johnson. We'll support someone like the black pastor. We'll support an organization like Black Lives Matter, which was shown to be disingenuous and still pour money into that person. And even sadder, they'll pour money into Pookie, but they won't pour any sort of investment in brothers and sisters who truly are looking to go out here and do something. Brothers and sisters who are out here ready to do something. Y'all don't want to support us. And again, it just makes me shake my head. I mean, these folks will sit there and, again, pour so much money into a Dr. Umar Johnson, but you ask them to pick up a paperback book on the SJS Direct imprint, and these people, again, disappear and can't show up. I mean, you can show them that you can write, again, 600-page book and, again, show you tangible results that come straight from the printer, and they will sit there and look for an excuse not to support it. But a guy like Dr. Umar Johnson can give you a dream of a school for black boys, but doesn't really understand what it means to be a man. Again, doesn't understand one of the principles of what it means to be a man is to have integrity as related to your character, have integrity to the point where you're going to be honest, to the point where you're going to be transparent. You're going to be honest to let them know the process so that they can go out here and see the whole process that leads to the results. And that can be something that, since you see it, we can go out here and scale it up. We can go out here and replicate the entire model. Again, build that model up. These are things that we can, again, that show you results. And again, in every other community, if you come to people and you don't produce tangible results, they look at you and say that you're not credible. But in the black community, you can produce no tangible results, and you're seen as the person that is respected. And again, this is what has me scratching my head about why black folks continue to support guys like Dr. Umar Johnson. Why do you continue to support people like this? Why do you continue to pour money into someone who never produces a single thing for you? Why do you do this at all? I mean, I don't know if it comes from black women living in situations with single mothers who deal with Pookie from generation to generation, because Pookie, again, never produces any results. Pookie never meets any goals or sets any goals. He'll sit there and talk about things like having a rap career or being an NBA player, but you'll look at him and never see him, again, talking about any sort of steps he's taken as related to things. Meanwhile, the brother who's out here looking to take those steps, you want to throw monkey wrenches in his direction, or even further, look to scrutinize that dude. Look to say, oh, he ain't really doing nothing. Well, he's putting in those hours after work, or putting in those hours when he's, again, while he's still looking for a job. He's still putting in those hours, putting in that work. You don't see the value of that person's work, but if a guy comes to you with some scheme, you're ready to go for it. And again, there has to be some sort of psychological issue as related to the minds of black people that we continue to support these kind of folks. That's what I'm wondering as related to things. I mean, these people, you see that they produce no results. They have no direction, no mission, no whole steps as related to process. And you still continue to pour money into these people and then sit there and say that, oh, there's no good brothers out here, like D Wood 78 Part 2 is saying. These are the same women who will sit there and say there's no good black men. But the whole thing is, those brothers out here, they were here all the time, but you didn't want to hear them because they're talking about work that where they're going to show accountability and responsibility like a steward of God would. A steward of God is going to show you actual results as related to things, tangible results as they're meeting the benchmarks, tangible results that show that they are serious about their process, and we don't support those people in the black community. No, the only community that doesn't support the folks who want to, again, bring you results. No, what we do is go out here and, again, look for things that, again, like Maurice says in a post, he said that because they want to be able to pat themselves on the back and pretend like they're contributing to a major cause without having to actually do any work. And he's right about that. They want to pat themselves on the back, but the whole thing is you don't pat yourself on the back because you didn't do anything. If you didn't do anything to produce a result, you can't pat yourself on the back. But in real life, again, we're not men like myself. We're not patting ourselves on the back. We understand this is hard work. We understand that it's a long process. And we understand that you got to, again, put in that work. You got to put in that work if you want those results. And sadly, a lot of us in the black community, we don't want to put in that work. Some of us, I believe, are traumatized by what we saw with things like Black Wall Street, things like the black people getting lynched. I believe that's some part of the psychological trauma of us looking to support the con man because we don't want to have to deal with the whole trauma of a reprisal for, again, participating in looking to, again, participate in a process. A lot of us are afraid to invest in process. That's what I believe as related to some things. That's why they'll go for an Umar Johnson over a Sean James, because an Umar Johnson, again, makes them feel good. And if they fail, everything is perfectly fine. Everything is fine because, oh, we didn't get a result, and we don't have to deal with any reprisal from the white supremacists. But the whole thing is that we shouldn't be afraid to, again, go out here and put in work towards anything at all. No, we shouldn't be afraid to do anything, because if you're afraid, you're giving away your power. Giving away your power the same way you give away your money to a con man. And again, giving away your power is the worst thing you could do, because you're looking not to, again, go out here and achieve anything or go out here and have faith. And that's the great irony of things. Many of these same folks will say that they're Christians and they talk about having faith in God, but they won't have faith in people who want to help them. No, they'll have faith in the con man. And again, believing that they can have faith in the con man, they're deliberately looking for him to fail, because having that faith means trusting someone. And a lot of them don't want to trust someone the way that they would supposed to trust God. No, because they want this thing to fail, they basically are showing how they are wedded to white supremacy and, again, want things to fail. And that's why they support, again, the black pastor. They support Pookie. They support guys like Umar Johnson, because they want them to fail so that they can continue maintaining their same codependent position in the system of white supremacy, where they don't want to, again, deal with, again, facing that fear that, oh, you can go out here and be on your own. No, they want to stay in that same codependent position. And that's one of the reasons I'm speculating why they want to, again, support a con man over an actual person who is looking to produce actual results, because they basically, what they want to do is, again, stay in that place of codependency. That's what I believe is happening to a lot of black women. They want to stay in that place of codependency under the white supremacists, and, again, want to stay in that place because they don't want to take agency or accountability. No, they want to stay in this position so they can go out here, like Maurice said, and, again, get that pat on the back and not have to do anything or be asked to do anything else at all. Don't have to be accountable for anything at all. That's why they love the con man. That's why they love Pookie. That's why they love the black pastor. And, again, this is why black folks, again, don't see why they make no progress, because they're afraid of progress. They're afraid of, again, taking ownership of their lives and agency of their lives. No, a lot of them fear that more than anything. That's what I am believing. Again, this is why they love a con man and a hustler. This is why they love Pookie. This is why they love the street dude. Again, they don't want to take ownership of their own lives. And this is something that we really need to take a look at. I wish guys like Professor Black Truth and Man Black would talk about this topic, because I look at the whole situation with Umar Johnson and I see a whole lot of deep psychological issues as related to black people. I see a lot of deep psychological issues because we have been supporting these type of people for over 100 years, whether they be the black pastor, whether they be the snake oil salesman, whether they be the guy talking about he a high value man. Whether it be one of these folks, we go out here and we'll run to support them first over the brother looking to be legit. And that really shows some sort of issue as related to us, an issue that will basically hold us back and keep us from growing and empowering ourselves as a people. That's what I see as a real serious problem. And I wanted to address this again about a month ago. But sadly, I had an anxiety attack, I believe, because I was so afraid of these folks out here in the comment section looking to attack me. I believe that's basically what led to me having that anxiety attack. Because, again, when it comes to black folks, whenever you start talking about being accountable, that's when people start to get rabid. And they get rabid because they're afraid. They're afraid of taking ownership or responsibility for themselves. And they would rather support a con man and make it look like they're doing something when they're doing nothing at all, rather than go out here and support someone like myself who can go out here and produce, again, tangible results like these books I have published, again, straight from the printer, available on Amazon.com right now. All of these books are available on Amazon.com right now. Again, tangible results This is what I do with your super chat money, your Cash App money. This is your money, again, right in front of you. This is what I do. About part of it pays for the artist to, again, do these covers, and again, also pays for the internet. And again, letting you know what is being offered directly in front of you, because at SJS Direct, I am very direct about everything. I am very direct about everything and being transparent as related to things, because, again, in order to foster a business relationship, you have to be very clear with people. You have to be very clear about what people are getting, because in an interdependent business relationship, you offer the product to the customer and you let the customer know what they're going to get. You let the customer know specifically what they're going to get. And again, that's all a part of the business process. And sadly, a lot of us brothers and sisters don't understand business process. And because we don't understand business process, that's why sadly a lot of us get played by people like Dr. Umar Johnson, women like those in Black Lives Matter, and the Black Pastor. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. But before I wrap up tonight's stream, I'm asking everybody to pick up a paperback copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, or pre-order the Kindle version of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. This is the fourth book in the Spinsterella series, and it's one where we're going back to the year 2000, where Matilda enters the world of goth modeling. And you can get this paperback right now on Amazon.com and other online booksellers. And you can get the other two books of the SJS Direct 2025 catalog, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl, which is now available right now in paperback and Kindle format, and John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side. All three of these books are available right now on Amazon.com and are all part of my mission to create positive stories about the Black experience and create a richer and more diverse picture of African American fiction. And also, if you also want to, again, go out here and help out the channel, you can also go out here and, glad to see you, Maurice, supporting me for so long. You can also continue to support the channel by dropping a donation to the Cash App or the PayPal. And again, I also am transparent there, because I get viewers who request videos of me, and they get those videos almost within the same week. If I don't have to do research, but you always get, again, open communication with me. I've even had viewers come to talk to me in emails, and I talk directly back at them. Again, have a great relationship with all of my viewers, like Maurice and Tavania and many others. So I have a great relationship, not only online, but here on YouTube, but also on other social media. And I try to, again, maintain that professionalism, because, again, I want everybody to know that I'm legit and I'm all about my business. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. I'm glad that you all 52 people came out for tonight's stream. I want to thank you all for coming out to tonight's stream. Everybody have a good evening, and everybody have a good night.